Greetings, Inquisitors. Welcome to the Holocron. This is the week 135 update for the Darth Loquitur account. I update this account's progress every week, go through all the characters, ships, mods, datacrons, whatever we're doing with the account, so that you can all follow along. Please remember, as we get started, use that like button. It helps me, it helps the channel, and I would appreciate it if you could do that for me. All right. Earlier in the week, we were working on the Krayt raid, messing around trying to get a little bit better score. We've got Boushhh at gear 12, so I decided to go ahead and commit the Zeta to her. Here I'm going into the scavenger for Conquest, and we're buying up all of these materials that we can for the signal data, both the green signal data and the blue, making these purchases. And I'm basically buying everything that I can find. Still have Conquest currency left over from this run, so we're going to buy this bronzium wiring that we can pick up in here. It's only 20, but 20 is better than 0, so we go ahead and pick that up. Injector handles in here, we can pick some of them up. And I did buy some materials out of here earlier before I decided to wait till the end of the run and decide. And all the rest of the stuff that you see in that shop, we can pick up somewhere else for a different kind of currency, so we leave it alone. And we'll continue to make those kind of purchases going forward. Here we got Fennec. She's the relic target for the week, and we're going to go ahead and take her up to relic 7 if we can. Here we get to relic 4, and we're out of bronzium wiring. So we got to go into the scavenger, make some bronzium wiring, and I imagine a lot of you are in the same boat. You just put all the stuff that you can in for bronzium wiring. Here you see I have 504 of these Mark V data pads from farming all kinds of Cairo. So that gives me some bronzium wiring to work with. I convert a few other materials just to have some extras. And we go ahead and take this up from Relic 5 to Relic 7. All right, that gets us the completion up there. Gets us to check in the checkbox. So we will be done with Fennec. We'll keep working on Greef Karga, and then we'll upgrade her mods next week. Krayt here gets a couple gear tiers. He's got the button's still highlighted, so I take him all the way to gear 11. There's not something else in the journey that needed all that gear, so we'll take him up. We'll take the Jawa to gear 10, I'm sorry. So he goes to gear 10. We're in good shape in the journey, only a few things left to finish out. Here we're going to go ahead and invest a little bit in the second sister. I'm out of Carbantes, so I go in and they're in the shop for that Mark I raid currency. So I go ahead and buy some of them, give her a couple levels of upgrades. Again, this is just to help out the ship. Using that ship just as a reinforcement for Grand Arena, but the hope is by making that ship a little better, maybe you give some opponents a little more problem with that fleet in GACs. Working on mods for the week. We get through the gray stuff here pretty quickly. We take a slice on a few of these mods. That's 2 without success, 3 without success, 4 without success, 5, and guess what? Same thing. Nothing for gray mods for this week. Sell them all off. Work on the blues and the greens. Go out here to slicing. We got a couple green mods that look okay, so we go ahead. They got 10 speed. We're going to go ahead and hit. We get to 15 speed, and then we're going to miss going to purple. We're going to miss again going to gold. But still, a 15 speed mod isn't bad. It is a potency mod set. Wish we had potency as a substat, but you can't have everything. We take this one to purple and get 15 speed. Take it to gold and miss. So 2 15 speed mods out of there with some potential to take the 6 dots later. Working through the golds and the purples here, selling off the 1 speed mods. There's only one mod in here that out of the 1 speeds that looked interesting. A potency mod with potency on the main stat. So I hit it a couple times. We get it up to 13 speed. So again, it's a mod that, you know, with the right character, we might want to 6 dot that. And it's right at the bottom of what I'm willing to 6 dot, but probably will 6 dot it someday. The armor had stolen away mods from Moff Gideon, so I had to give those back. And here we take the armor, give her own mod set, get her to 292. She's got potency on, which probably I'll change out at some point, but got her remodded with something decent. Datacrons, we were able to farm some Datacron stuff, not a ton, but enough that we'll try to make a couple higher level mods here. Here we get some protection and health steal, tons of health steal in that mod. Here we go for another new Datacron. I call the mods, it's Datacron. Here we get a bunch of like accuracy and other random stats, not great. Crit avoidance, accuracy, not a good start, so we abandon those. And then I am going to dismantle a few of these, get them out of here. And that's it. So not a whole lot of luck on mods or datacrons this week. Some kind of mediocre stuff, but that's okay. Can't have a great week every week, I suppose. All right, so let's take a look at the stats for the account. 6.34 million galactic power. We added 20,000 since last week. Up to 74 relics, 94 Zetas. Of course, we added the Zeta onto that Boushhh Leia. We're out of Zetas, so we're really going to have to start saving up. Jabba's a long way off, but so is 120 Zeta materials. So we'll start saving up and make sure we have enough in the bank for whenever we get Jabba. Squad Arena JMK still getting us a top 50. Fleet Arena, the Profundity is getting us top 5 finishes. And in GAC, we're still in Kyber 4. The project for next week will be Greef Karga. Greef is honestly almost done already. So we're probably looking at a 2 relic week next week if we can get all the materials put together. But we'll target Greef as the main target. The energy plan for next week is still that 000 BT1, Bast of the Fallen, and Juhani. Inquisitors on the relevant days for dark side, light side, etc. In Cantina, signal data, Karth. I didn't find an opportunity to farm Karth at all. I've been doing signal data 5 days and characters on the weekend, trying out that routine. And I feel like my signal data is just getting further and further behind. So I'll have to make room for Karth sooner or later, but it really feels like we're outrunning our ability to gather signal data. Mod plan is to just do slicing materials on the weekend, do mods all week again. Refresh strategies, try to get 3 refreshes in everything. The 2003 planning, what I'm working on now is the Fennec Lord Vader counter. Then we'll finish out the Jabba journey, and then we'll take a look at some other stuff, Sonastaros, Afra. Maybe go into JML, take a look at Starkiller. There's a lot of opportunities for us with this account. So we'll nail that down more once we've got Jabba in the account. So talking about those signal datas, you see out of the Wandering Scavenger, we could buy 10 of these for 140 of the Conquest currency. So 10 of these materials would take, at the average drop rate, would take 174 Cantina energy. That's 1.45 refreshes. So this 10 signal data represents basically 145 crystals worth of what you could farm. If you buy them out of the shop, it costs 20 crystals each for this type of signal data. So if we compare that to the 14 Conquest currency each, just to the 20 crystals that it would cost out of the shop, it means that we're getting a 1.42 efficiency in terms of the Conquest currency acting like crystals. So that's really good. It's a high efficiency purchase. 25 of them were available, so I bought all 25. If we look at the blue signal data, it's worth 242 Cantina energy would be required to farm 10 blue. That's the equivalent of 2 refreshes. Of course, 120 energy per refresh. So it's right around 200 crystals worth of value. These cost 23 Conquest currency each, 230 for 10. They cost 30 crystals each out of the shop. So if we look at that, it's about a 1.3 efficiency of Conquest currency to crystals. Not quite as good as the conversion for the green, but still a very efficient purchase. And 40 of these were available, so I bought all 40 of them. And in kind of conclusion, the using the I put Shard Shop currency, but I meant Conquest currency. Using the Conquest currency for signal data, scavenged part, and injector handles, it is going to be the best value for that Conquest currency in terms of efficient purchases. And again, we're just going to make those purchases because before we couldn't get enough of those gold right-hand side relic parts, so it made sense to buy those out of Conquest and make the relic cycles go faster. Now that we can get those parts, I won't say easily, but fairly conveniently with the new raid currency, then it makes more sense to buy these signal data, scavenged parts, and injector handles. By scavenged parts, I mean the bronzium wiring and various pieces like that you might be behind on. With all of them, the quantity is limited, and even for the signal data, it basically represents 1 day of farming that you save. So 1 day of farming for Conquest that comes around once a month really isn't significant. But it's greater than 0, so, anything greater than 0 is an improvement. Now, please just keep in mind that if you need the current Conquest character or ship, or if you're buying something from the Conquest shop, for a character or a ship, that does still take precedent for your Conquest currency because you can't get those shards somewhere else. Even if you can get them out of the proving ground, then you still you can get more out of the shop. Malgus right now has continued to show up in the shop, and as well as in the proving grounds. So if you're buying a character like that, then being able to save up currency and get those purchases is going to be better than any signal data or anything like that you could purchase. So do what makes the most sense for your account. But again, it's not a very big effect. If they had the signal data in the Conquest store, for example, and you could buy it every time the shop refreshed, then it would be something to look at a little differently. All right, so overall, the Relic Cycle right now, not too hard to figure out that it's going to be limited by the amount of signal data that we can farm. And for most people, it's the bronzium wiring becomes a problem because you just don't get enough of those materials to convert to bronzium wiring as you do for most of the other stuff. Carbonite circuit boards can eventually also become a problem. The shop purchases that come around where you can spend 500 crystals for these materials. The carbonite circuit boards are a pretty good value, and you get a lot of the circuit boards. The bronzium wiring, you spend 500. It's not that great of a value. You don't get a lot of the bronzium wirings in return, but it is one of the few places that you can get them at a reasonable cost. So you may have to look to that for your relic cycles. And then when you add in building characters that require Kyro gear pieces, Kyro has been for a long time been a bottleneck and will be even more of a bottleneck now than in the past. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, but a lot of how we manage the regular daily energy in the account really has to do with I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you pretty much can't farm anything but Kyro with your leftover energy. And even it's to the point where even on dark side days, I'm not really spending my. I've always followed the guild objective, and it's dark side day. I always farm dark side, but for the last couple weeks, I just can't get off the Kyro node because I need the Kyro. I need the bronzium wiring from those the data pads for the bronzium wiring. So it's changed around my farming routine quite a bit, but that's it. And I do, just as a reminder, you can always get the Kyro for the Guild Event 2 tokens and the Guild Event 3 tokens. So that's, supplemental Kyros there. And the Grand Arena Shop. Make sure you buy the majority of those purchases as the computers. I buy the computers out of there and farm strictly the shock prods. I try never to farm the computers, but that's going to become increasingly difficult. And you can expect CG to continue to try to heavily monetize Kyro. So this has kind of become, the narrowing point where everybody complains about Cairo, but if they put Cairo into the store as a good deal, then people are spending real dollars to buy a Cairo, and that's their, obviously, they're not going to do something to fix the Cairo shortage, because if that's their strategy for monetization, they want it to be a bottleneck, they want people to have to pay for it, then doing something to free up and make more Cairo available would not be in their best interest. So I do not expect them, or if they did something, it would surprise me. So I don't expect Cairo to be available somewhere else. I expect it to be monetized and continue to be that way. All right, so that wraps up the account discussion for this week. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. Chugging along, getting these characters put together for the Jabba journey and making this Lord Vader counter. And then we'll get into the final characters for the Jabba. Be done with it. Let me know what you guys think I should do next. I got that list of all the exciting options with Starkiller and Afra and all the stuff that I think that I want to do. So you guys tell me what you think the most effective little mini journey would be in between Jabba and the JML. Probably going to sweep back around and scoop him up as soon as I can. Always interested to hear what you guys got to say. Also, hit that like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Use the subscribe feature. Hit the notification bell to watch more videos like this in the future. And of course, the Discord. The link to our Discord is down below. We got a fantastic community for new players and mid-game players alike. Lots of cool people having conversations about all kinds of things. And lots of new players can get help over there. With experienced players answering. Even if you're not that talkative, you can just read what other people are saying and learn a lot from it. So hope to see you over there. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next holocron.